It was about 30 years ago in Southeast Asia, near a deserted highway, one of the few major roads connecting the major city to the northern region of the country. Back in those days, the highway was neither as wide nor as well maintained as it is today, with just a single lane on each side. The road was narrow and somewhat desolate, especially at night. Lights were sparse and there were far fewer vehicles on the road. Driving on the highway after dark could be a nerve-wracking experience, particularly if something went wrong with your car. In those days, gas stations were few and far between, especially on this highway. You couldn't find the large, well-lit stations like the ones we see today. Instead, you might come across a small, unknown brand gas station, but even those were so spaced out that long stretches of road had no services available at all. This is why 24-hour tire repair shops were essential along the highway. Since most gas stations didn't offer tire repair services, if you had a flat tire in the middle of nowhere, your only hope was to find one of these small, independently owned shops. One day, at a small 24-hour tire repair shop, which wasn't located right on the main road, you had to go down a small lane about 100 meters off the main road, where a sign indicated 24-hour tire repair with a single light bulb hanging to let passers-by know the shop was there. The shop was small, with only 2 workers, the owner and an assistant. On this particular day, everything seemed normal. The sun had set, and the clear night sky allowed for some moonlight, making it easier to see. Around 10 p.m., an employee approached the owner and asked if he could go home briefly to grab some food and retrieve something he had forgotten. The owner agreed, telling him to hurry back since the shop needed to stay open around the clock. After the employee left, the owner shut the doors and lay down to rest, as it was common for 24-hour tire repair shops to only attend to customers if someone knocked during the night in need of help. Several hours passed. It was now about 1 a.m. when a pickup truck pulled into the lane leading to the shop. The owner, who had fallen asleep inside, was woken by the sound of a knock at the door. A male voice called from outside.
"Excuse me, is anyone there? I need help with a flat tire."
The owner asked, "Do you need help with a flat tire?" The man replied,
"Yes, the front left tire is flat. Could you take a look at it?"
Still groggy from sleep, the owner got up and opened the door to find a man and a woman standing outside. The couple looked distressed. The man explained that they had a flat tire on the front left side of their truck and asked if the owner could help. Half asleep, the owner walked over to the vehicle. Sure enough, the front left tire was completely flat. He assured the couple that he would take care of it and told the couple that there was a bench nearby where they could sit while he fixed the tire. As they walked to the bench, the owner noticed something strange. Despite the warm weather, the couple appeared to be shivering, almost as if they were cold. He found this odd, but didn't ask any questions and proceeded to work on the tire. However, his curiosity soon got the better of him. While loosening the lug nuts, he glanced over at the couple and asked, "Are you both all right? You seem cold, but it's not chilly tonight. Why are you shivering like that?" The man hesitated for a moment before replying,
"If I tell you what we've been through, you might not believe me. But if you're willing to listen, I'll tell you."
The owner nodded, intrigued, and encouraged the man to share his story, saying he didn't mind and would listen. The man began explaining that he worked as a salesman, and earlier that night, he and his wife had been driving up the highway to meet a client in the northern region. The road was deserted at that time of night, with barely any cars passing by. As they drove along, they spotted a small roadside shelter in the distance. As they got closer, they saw a woman standing by the shelter, wearing a long white gown. The sight of this woman standing alone in the middle of the night sent chills down their spines. It didn't seem right for someone to be out there at such a late hour. Feeling uneasy, they didn't stop. They kept driving past her, trying to shake off the unsettling feeling. However, as they passed her, the man, curious, glanced in his rearview mirror, hoping to get another look at the woman. To his surprise, the woman in the white dress was no longer standing by the roadside shelter. Wondering where she had gone, he decided to check his side view mirror. But to his horror, he saw something that made his blood run cold. The face of the woman in white was right next to the mirror, staring back at him. Startled, the man jerked the steering wheel to the right, causing the truck to swerve off the road, nearly losing control of the vehicle. He managed to regain control and continued driving, but soon realized that a tire had gone flat, likely due to the sudden swerving. As they pulled over to the side, they noticed a sign for a 24-hour tire shop and decided to pull in for help. As the man finished telling his story, the owner was skeptical, but felt an uneasy sensation at the same time. Unsure of what to say, he focused on fixing the tire as quickly as possible. While the owner was tightening the bolts on the wheel, he accidentally dropped his wrench under the truck. Since the truck was raised slightly, he crouched down to retrieve the tool. That's when he saw something that terrified him. From beneath the truck, he could see the woman sitting on the bench, but she had no legs. Her skirt hung down from her waist, but beneath it, there were no feet or legs at all. The owner froze in place, unsure if his eyes were deceiving him. He rubbed his eyes and looked again, but the horrifying sight remained. The woman still had no legs. Terrified, he hurried to finish the job, tightening the remaining bolts as quickly as possible. He then told the man that the tire was fixed and that they were good to go. Still in shock, the owner returned to the shop and lay down on his bed, too afraid to sleep, yet trying to convince himself it was all a figment of his imagination. His mind raced with the night's bizarre events, but exhaustion eventually won out, and he drifted off. Not long after, around 2 a.m., there was another knock at the door. This time, it was the shop's employee, returning from his home. The owner, still shaken, immediately yelled at the employee for being gone so long, saying, "Where have you been? Do you know what just happened? I've been through something terrifying tonight." The employee, looking confused, asked what the owner was talking about. The owner explained everything that had just occurred, the couple with the flat tire, the woman with no legs, and the strange story they had told. But as he spoke, the employee's expression changed. He looked pale and hesitant. The employee then told the owner something that chilled him to the bone. On his way back to the shop, he had come across the scene of an accident. A pickup truck had gone off the road, and rescue workers were at the scene. The couple inside the truck had both died. The owner's face drained of color as he remembered the woman sitting on a bench with no legs or feet. Is this the woman who died in the accident my employee was talking about? He asked with a trembling voice, what did the truck look like? And what did the man and woman look like, and what were they wearing? The employee described the couple and the vehicle in detail. They matched the exact description of the couple the owner had just helped. Shocked, the owner decided that from that day on, the shop would implement a new rule. He swore that he would never work the night shift alone again.